You said.
How did you find out you were infected?
I had a mist from shooting cocaine, and my arm swelled up, and they sent me to the hospital. And when they sent me to the hospital, they said they wanted to do a test on me with HIV and a hepatitis C. And
So you had been battling a drug addiction, and that led you to believe how you were infected, and then that led you to eventually...
And the doctor had called me because it was back in 1984, and he told me that I was positive for HIV and hepatitis.
You won't be able to stay for the whole program.
That's okay, but that's what I was
meet
going
here
to
at
ask.
6?
6, yeah.
Okay.
Kid will be here 6.
Yes.
And the Herald News will be here 7.
So far.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our opening World AIDS Day in Fall River. I want to thank everybody for being here and the great support that the city of Fall River always gives us. This World AIDS Day, this is a time when HIV must sit at the front of people's minds, at the top of our priority list. Progress is exciting, less HIV infections, but still we need to be more aware to all levels. People need to know the basics of protecting their own sexual health. Half of the people living with HIV are unaware. They're still getting infected, and the community needs to become more aware that HIV is an issue that affects all of us. We believe that education and an open mind discussion is the key to curbing this epidemic. Education is needed now to stop the risk-taking that are fueling this epidemic. Levels of knowledge and awareness of HIV around our community remain very low, which is alarming. People living with HIV must no longer live with stigma and discrimination that prevents them from disclosing their status, protecting their partners, and living their lives freely without fear of rejection. Young people are at the epicenter of the epidemic, both in the sense they are disposable, vulnerable, but also they have a huge potential to change the next generation. Where HIV prevalence is higher among adults, we must not forget that in many cases the virus was actually contracted while young. We must continue to promote early HIV testing so we can connect individuals to medical care. It is therefore imperative to prevent new infections among this age group. We must improve young people's knowledge of HIV risks through better prevention strategies and support for young people's efforts to protect themselves and others. Education and testing is the key to curbing this epidemic. We must all ensure that this education is age-appropriate, relevant, and accessible to young people. We need to find new ways to deliver the message that will focus on empowering young people to use technology as an HIV prevention and sex education tool. We need to aim in encouraging young people to take control of their sexual health, protecting themselves from the virus, and also share this information with their peers. Let us not forget the elderly, who is a growing population of the new infection. In addition, it's urgent that we support the elderly socially, psychologically, and economically, which they should never be overlooked nor undervalued. Epidemic translates into a community like Fall River that shows awareness of HIV and AIDS of all levels. Awareness of how to prevent infections. Awareness around reaching the people who need the treatment. Awareness how to create a community where people feel comfortable getting tested and being aware of their status. A community where nobody living with HIV is discriminated against. We need a new generation of HIV. If we want a future free of AIDS, we will need to continue to invest commitment and innovations to reach the vision of zero no infections, zero discriminations, and zero AIDS related. On this World AIDS Day, let us resolve to consign AIDS in Fall River to the pages of history. It is my pleasure now introduce to you a great supporter that since the beginning of his office here, that always supported our agencies. World AIDS Day could never happen without a collaboration of many agencies. Seven Hills in collaboration with many agencies such as Stepping Stone, STAR, family centers and homeless prevention programs are here to make sure that we don't forget this day. So we could never do this without the support of our Honorable Mayor, William Flanagan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm honored to be standing here with you this morning to raise the white flag with the red ribbon over Government Center. And flags are raised here as a symbolic gesture to raise awareness, to raise hope, to empower, and to continue to keep our message on the minds of the community and into the forefront. But you have to do more than raise a flag. You have to get involved, you have to become active. And as was said earlier, the way to do that is through education and through testing. And the earlier we do it, the more prevalent we do it, the more we will see a reduction in the number of cases of HIV and AIDS. Much progress has been made over the last 30 years with this disease. And we have to continue to also break down the taboos that are associated with it, the stigma that is often found with those infected. And we make great strides there too. But we're not where we need to be. That's why we continue to work. That's why we continue to raise awareness. That's why we continue to empower. And Dr. Valencourt always goes over the statistics with us, especially here in the community. When you hear those statistics, it serves of how important of an issue this is for a community. So as mayor, I've always made it a priority to be here with you on this afternoon to make sure that the flags are flying over Government Center, to continue to raise hope and empower those who are infected, to continue to push for education and testing, and to continue to reduce the amount of cases until this disease is finally history, not just here in America, but throughout the globe. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. God bless you.
Thank you. And like the mayor said, funds are driven by statistics. And what better person than Dr. V to come up here and talk to us about that and how important that is so we can eliminate HIV and put programs in place such as education and continue to promote HIV testing. Dr. V?
Good morning. Well, what is the good news about HIV/AIDS? Have we eliminated it? No. Have we found a cure? No. Have we been able to consistently prevent new cases? No. Well, what is the good news? Well, in Massachusetts, since the year 2000, the number of people still living with the diagnosis of being HIV positive has been increasing, while the number of new cases and those who die from the disease has been decreasing. In Bristol County, of approximately 1,900 people diagnosed with HIV since the year 2000, close to 55% are still alive today. And on a statewide level, of the approximately 31,000 people diagnosed as being HIV positive since 2000, 59% are still alive. The annual rate of infection here in Bristol County is approximately 7 cases per 100,000 people per year. On a statewide level, that number is 10.3 new cases. So, in regards to that, we're actually doing better here in Bristol County. Our prevalence, which is the number of people who have HIV positivity in Bristol County, is about 194 per 100,000 people. On a statewide level, that number is 278. So we're also doing better in that regard. The number of males diagnosed with HIV has decreased by about 1/3 here in Bristol County. The number of women or females diagnosed with HIV has also decreased by about 45% here in Bristol County. Whereas several years ago, and comparing and looking back to actually 2000, that's close to a 60% decrease in the number of cases. So again, we're doing better. Something right is happening here in Bristol County. We're still seeing more males than females diagnosed with HIV. On a race ethnicity basis, we're now seeing a reduction in HIV among white non-Hispanics, and more so here in Bristol County than in the state. We are unfortunately seeing a marked increase in black non-Hispanics in Bristol County versus the rest of the state. And in our Hispanic Latino population here in Bristol County, we really haven't seen any significant increase in those numbers. The other good news is so far as the mode of exposure. The number of cases we're seeing due to intravenous drug use has dropped dramatically here in Bristol County and now accounts for 15% of the cases. Unfortunately, we're seeing more of the cases now having occurred as a result of men having sex with men and obviously not using protection. Heterosexual exposure has not really changed significantly as a risk factor. So what is the good news then? Well, the good news is that, as I said before, people with HIV are living longer, more productive lives. We're seeing fewer new cases, and we're seeing fewer deaths from what at one time was a sure death sentence diagnosis. But what do we need to do? Well, we need to get people to get tested more often if they engage in any type of risky behavior, and even if they have not, they may be at risk through past behaviors or those of the people they're in a relationship. It's still unfortunate that in the year 2013, 18% of those people who are infected with HIV do not know it. What that means is that here in Bristol County, there are over 3,000 people who have it, who are undiagnosed. And here we're seeing people who don't know it and are at risk of unintentionally spreading it to others. This is what is not acceptable about HIV/AIDS. Not the people who have contracted it and are under treatment, but the people who have it and do not know it and are able to spread the disease. Let's stop ostracizing those who have it and are doing something about it, and let's instead spend our energy in trying to identify those who have it and do not know it, so something can be done for them and ultimately us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. B. We're going to be raising the flag, which is one of our tradition here. However, I want to invite everybody back here at 6 o'clock as we do our annual candle vigil into the SCA, where we'll have a rich educational program and a program that is really empowering to the individuals that are HIV positive, but also to the individuals who are unaware what is HIV and how to contract the HIV. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, this afternoon, and we hope to see everybody tonight at 6 o'clock here for the vigil walk.
Hopefully it'll like that.
I forget how young they are.
I wouldn't be able to move with me on there.